happened tonight? Slim margins again.
Yeah, I think we played a very good game. I think we've been the best team for 70 minutes out of 90, and unfortunately we lost. We had two big chances in the first half, and we didn't score the goal. One, Yuri made a very good save on Brian. The other one, he went out for inches or centimeters for us that we use the Dewey Medic decimal system. And they changed in the second half. They were pushing us. For 15 minutes they pushed us in our final third, but we were resisting well. And in fact, they didn't. I think the goal is the only shot in the net that they have, and the goal happened by accident. We kicked a long ball, and unfortunately, Andres deflected the ball that is alone in a way that put out Tristan and Ranko out of position. It's actually literally by accident, and Bogus scored a good goal. Then after that, we changed to try to be even more offensive and having four guys pressing up instead of three guys, and we went to a sort of a 4-4-2 or call it 4-2-4 with Ali as a right back at a certain point, so really, really offensive. And we tried to occupy the space there. They were defending with a lot of men, so we didn't have a lot of chance. We brought the ball there. It was a lot of scrum, in the box. The goal that we scored was offside, so that's to say, I'm really proud of the performance of the guys. That on the 3 games, I don't think we were worse than them. We won the aggregate 4-3, and again, against a very good team, and we showed that we played well. So it's the nature of the playoff that you're so pumped up, and then the season's over, and realizing that we're not gonna spend 1 minute together as a group, because as every time players changes, maybe coach changes, and it's very hurtful because I love this group and I love these guys.
Is this season a success for you?
The season has been, I would say, better than the last year. We played a better soccer than last year, in my opinion. We had 2 pauses, one right before the summer and right before the playoff, that made us achieving less point than we should deserve. Also, we had some terrible mistakes by the referee during the season. Not now in the playoff, we were fantastic. During the season against us, they would have more points, and that's probably the only regret, because we would have probably 5th or 6th. I think we deserved to be there, and we wouldn't have played against the LAFC. Maybe we had a better chance to go to the next round. So I think the season is not, I wouldn't call a success, but I wouldn't call a failure too. I think the season was if you are an assessment, probably a B-. Yeah.
Vanni, one thing we saw in the match was LAFC very, very strong aerial duels. It seemed like you guys had a little bit of trouble when you're playing those long balls to Brian White, finding success there. Just talk about some of the changes they made defensively and what impact those aerials had in the match.
So the fact that they're strong in terms of pure strength, I don't think there's not even like, if it would be box, we wouldn't play in the same categories, because I think probably we are the smaller team in the league, and they played with a real defender more in the first half with Marlon and instead of Giroud. Basically, that was the change. But that allowed us to play more because they were impressing, and that's the reason why we had we were dominant. I would say in the first half, in terms of possession, in terms of bringing the ball in the final third, in terms of having chances. Of course, when we arrived there was a lot of players, and so it was hard to create a lot of chances. We created probably 3-4 chances, no more. In the second half, we like it happened in the first 15 minutes in Vancouver 2 of the second half. We weren't able to get out of the box like in a way that we were able in the first half, and we went a little bit probably so playing with the 32-52 behind. It's a little bit, and they were pushing, but we were defending well. So yeah, but they're really strong defensively, and not forgetting that they had Murillo and Segura on the bench. That they're very good to defend there too. History of the salary group.
Vanni, it's a team you're obviously very familiar with. Play LAFC a lot this year.
Yeah.
Obviously finishing with the playoffs. What lessons do you take? I mean, I know it's not necessarily like a chess match, but what lessons do you take from playing them so much and learning how to, I guess, play against them? And like you said, you guys weren't necessarily on the bottom.
So what we improved dramatically, I would say, compared to the first times that we were playing and we were losing like 2 years ago, it's how we behave in transition. That we're much better to limit the number of transition that they can do, because I remember the first 4 or 5 times that we played last year that Buanga killed us every time. It was our kryptonite. And now we were able to kind of limit at least him. The other thing is that it's a team that it's very dangerous, but at the same time you can beat them through play, like we showed in Vancouver, like we showed here when we won the League's Cup, like we show even today, and even in the last game when we lost one in the 2 first half where we were the better team. So yeah, the thing is that in the playoff, the star-studded team, because the big players count, and when the big players score goals, then it's at the end we need to accept that. And again, the only regret that we have is the last 4 games of the regular season, because we wouldn't have been 8th. We wouldn't have to do the play-in, and we wouldn't have played them. Probably we would have played them at the next round. So we would have worked for another 2 weeks. Luckily, we are not paid by the hour.
Profesor Sartini, un juego muy cerrado, apretado, que lamentablemente se termina perdiendo.
Sí, muy cerrado, muy cerca. Los 3 partidos ha sido así, porque también el partido que ganamos 3-0 es un resultado un poquito mentiroso. No eras 3-0, tenías que ser probablemente 2-1, 3-1, porque merecían un goles. Sí, es algo que me hace mucho orgulloso de mi equipo, porque para ir con la misma calidad, la misma intensidad, y al final era un like a coin toss para ver quién ganaba el partido, con el equipo que ganó la Liga hace 2 años, estaba en la final, y en la final de Champions hace 1 año, en la final de la Copa de la Liga ese año, significa que tenemos un buen equipo. Significa que hay una fundación para el nuevo año, nueva temporada, para ir de verdad y ganar títulos.
¿Frustra de la forma que queda eliminado Vancouver Whitecaps con este nuevo formato de playoff, sabiendo que en el marcador agregado pudieron haber ganado?
Sí, al final sí estaba marcador agregado, los dos primeros partidos fueran diferentes, así que el reglamento no me gusta. A mí esa series de 3 no me gusta, porque no es fútbol. Te voy a decir por qué. Salt Lake se clasificó tercero en el campeonato, está afuera sin perder, con 2 empates. Eso para mí es algo increíble. Pero hemos perdido porque hemos jugado en la forma, en el reglamento de jugar, y al final tenemos que aceptar que no ganamos.
How big a adjustment was it that LAFC made adding a midfielder at the half?
Yeah, we were killing them, so they had to do it. That our adjustment was to go 4-2-3-1 defensively after 15 minutes, and I'm pissed because right after we did the adjustment and we were I would say getting out of the pressure of the first 10-12 minutes, we considered that very unlucky goal. can give you the title. Maybe God was angry at me because I said I'm an atheist a lot of times, and that's the reason we lost. And but it can be angry because it doesn't exist. And so that's unfortunately it is what it is. But I think I gotta be honest. I expect that adjustment to be at the beginning of the game. I expect them to be 4-3-3 at the beginning of the game because we exploited the areas in Vancouver, and I expected them, and I expected them to play with Bogusz as a number 9 and no Giroud. I got one out of 2 of the one that I expected, but at the end, they did well, and in those 15 minutes they push. There was also probably half a penalty. We need to be honest, maybe half a penalty on Bouanga, and they had another chance with Bouanga, ball out, and then the goal.
For you, Giroud versus Bogusz in the 9, are they more dangerous one way or another for you? How?
It's different. It's completely different. With Giroud, quote unquote, it's easier tactically because it gives you the reference to be there. So for the 2 center back, it's easier to do 1 mark, 1 cover, 1 mark, 1 cover, 1 mark, 1 cover. So it's there, but of course it's Giroud. So any goal, any time that the ball goes high, he can chest the ball and play and so on. With Bogusz drifting away and playing basically as a false 9, you need to be very disciplined. In the first half, we did very well. It was only one time where Ranko was attracted too much to Bogusz and the play over, and Tristan had to cover. But it poses, of course, a different situation. It changes also the role of their wingers, because with Bogusz they attack more the space, with Giroud they receive more the ball on their feet, and they attack you 1v1. So it changes the role of the fullback too.
Okay, we'll now go online. Please keep your questions to 1 question and 1 follow-up. We'll start with Felipe, then we'll go to Gemma. Over to you, Felipe.
Hey, Vanni.
Hey, Felipe.
Commiserations on the loss there.
Thank you.
I wanted to talk about what you mentioned about, this is a game that was very, very tight. One aspect of it is, of course, the narrow miss of chances, White in the first half, and the fact that Bogusz on the second half. But would you say another aspect of it as well was sort of the fortune favors the bold moment where Cherundolo made those changes at halftime and you had to sort of react to them, and it was because of him willing to make those changes so early that it benefited the team, and it kind of puts you guys into a bit of a tough position this opening 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, you have to make your own luck, like we did in Vancouver last week with the 2 own goals, and they did it in the second half today, making the right adjustment and being more aggressive. So I would say that it was like a nice, to be honest, game, even tactically today. I really enjoyed it, to see the different nuances during the game, and Steve is a very good coach, so and they have a very good staff, so that's head on them when they were able to make some changes, like we did some changes in some other games. So it's certainly I would say something that they can have also, because it's bringing Atuesta and Giroud from the bench. It's a luxury, to be honest.
And then I also wanted to ask a bit about the substitutions, especially towards later in the game when you were down on the goal. It felt like a lot of it, especially in the last few minutes, was setting the ball along, trying to push it into the box. I was curious about what your thought process of not putting a player like Damir Krajlak in, giving his height and his physicality, and maybe potentially getting a chance to be able to go against those big center backs and be creating it a bit more.
Yeah, the idea was I thought that Ali could have made them in trouble playing higher on the left instead of playing right back. And so I put Ali left winger to try to win those 1v1 and go. I put Daber. The idea was to try to put either Daber or Damir, and I said let's try to put Daber, so a fast guy that can go 1v1, and we put Matias, that is a defender but is a wild horse, and the fact that we had one of our best chance, because if the chest that then he got the foul of Holdingshead is like 20 centimeters higher, it's a penalty, and the cross of Daybird that was for Ali on the second post was Matias giving the ball to him. So that was the thing. The problem was, if I had to put Damir, I had to take off one between Goldie and Brian, and I didn't want. I want them to stay on the field, and I want them to because I thought they could have scored the goal, but I thought a lot about putting Damir for Brian, to be honest, in those last 10 minutes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Felipe. We'll now go to Gemma, and then we'll finish with Har. Gemma, please.
Hi, Jim.
Speaking of Ryan, he's been such a dynamic force throughout this playoffs, and we know that he leads the playoffs in scoring contributions. What was it that LA was doing tonight to kind of hold him in check?
I think in the first half they didn't hold him in check, but he was uncharacteristically sloppy in some passes. I think he was like probably, after 3 seconds he had that big hit with Long, and he probably was a little bit sore on that, and I think he entered the game at minute 25, 30, something like this. In the second half, he was very good. He served 3 or 4 balls with the set plays that were really good, and of course, it was harder to be effective when they play with 9 guys in front of the box. So I think that he could have done better probably in the first 20 minutes, but he did. He grew in the game, and I think I'm satisfied with his performance also, because in the last month he took the team on the shoulder and he brought us here.
And on a different note, when you look back at this season, obviously it's a little soon, but is there one point that's kind of a pivot for you where things went really well or really poorly?
What went really well was in July, when, do you remember when Fafa said that he wanted to go away? And the way that we managed him, and we brought him to forget about it and to be an asset for the team. I think that it's my biggest success this season as a coach, and because he's been decisive for that July and August that we had. So I think that's the positive spin for the season, how we manage collectively, not just me, but even the group, the players, the staff, everything, and not holding back on our principle, but making him realize that he needed to be part of the group, to feel loved, and he felt love, and he gave love to us. So it was really good. The bad one, performance-wise, the last 4 games of the season, especially when we lost against Seattle and against Minnesota at home, the other 2. And the other thing, we gotta be honest, I think we are credited 6 points because of referee mistakes against Austin, against Houston, and against Minnesota. That would have put at 53. It's not a polemic, it's just a statement of fact.
Thank you.
And we'll finish with Har, please.
Hey, Vanni, it's Har in
Yeah.
Vancouver. You mentioned earlier, this is probably the last time you're together with this group because
Yes.
players leave, and you mentioned coach.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about your future with the team next year? Have you had any conversations, or what can you share with us?
I have a contract for next year, so if anything major happens, I'm here. So the good thing when you have a contract that you still have a work permit till the end of the year, so then you don't kick me out of the country. Also, how I think about the world, so I would love to stay in Canada and not go in Trumpland. So that's the thing.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.